Hello, and welcome for this release of Xen Orchestra 5.110, which is the release of August 2025. And this time it's all about migration from VMware, storage, backup, and many other things that we will cover this month. So, we'll start as usual with the project and community to talk about what's happening, in the overall Vates ecosystem, which is, very active right now. The ecosystem is growing very fast. The first topic, the kind of the elephant in the room, is Veeam started to release a first closed beta version of the native support of XCP and G. So this means if you're part of the Veeam 100 program, you could access to the plugin to download it and to be able to enable it, connect to the cluster, and then start to back up VMs. We are doing tests internally. It works pretty well. There is only very few quirks for first, initial version. It's really great. So kudos to the Veeam teams for making it, already pretty stable. And we hope that the feedback given by everyone, including us, we are, sending all our feedbacks, fixing anything that could be a problem directly with Veeam, and we hope that there is enough traction on the short term, so it will go beyond a demonstrator and it become an available product. So if you want, to push on that side, on that aspect, feel free to tell them. There is a dedicated thread on the forum. I will put the link later before the release on the blog post if you want to, provide that feedback and so on. If you want to test it and you're not member of the Veeam 100 program, just ask your Veeam rep. They might be able to give you access to it. So that's really cool. And I had a question about that, why it's really great, because you already have backup tools in Xen Orchestra, and that's true. And in fact, the main reason is if you are already running on VMware plus Veeam, the fact that you don't have to change everything at once and you can keep Veeam while getting on another platform is kind of reducing the pain on the VMware migration. And as you know, the main target that we are addressing right now since the last 2-3 years is the VMware users. So that's why this closed beta is a really great news, and we hope to go further in the next weeks and the next months with them. Let's talk about a new partner, or a partnership that is, in design as we speak. We will be at the Vates Data Core Day. So for those who are not aware, Data Core is a company building a storage system, which is a software one that you install on your machines, and then you can use that with replication and so on. And we are, shaping this partnership, and a demonstration of that is being, present at the Data Core Days in France in October. So if you are in the region, it's in southeast of France. Just you will find a booth and you could discuss with us. We'll be happy to meet you there. And that's the pre-announcement that we are, working on exciting integration with Data Core. So stay tuned about that. And to me, it's important to showcase that we are really working, in the idea of creating a true ecosystem around us. We are not, you do not want to be alone in there, and working with big names that like Veeam, Data Core, and so on is really important. Expect many new announcements for the next release regarding all those partnerships, because it's moving forward pretty fast. In 3 weeks from now, we will be at, and myself included, at the Xen Summit 2025. We did the Xen Winter Summit in Grenoble, but the annual, usual, let's say, gathering is the Xen Summit itself. It's in San Jose, in the AMD/Xilinx campus, which is a really nice location. Will be hosted by AMD, and there is a lot of great stuff there, both on server virtualization, but also automotive and other thing like this. By the way, you might be aware that Xen project got new members in the automotive industry, like Honda, Ford, and so on. So that's meaning a kind of a new momentum for the Xen project, not only within the data center but also in other projects. By the way, we organize at Grenoble, for those who cannot attend in San Jose, a small, let's say, stream party. It's like not a big event, not a counter summit, but just some people cannot travel or afford to travel to the US, so we have few seats for people who want to be at our offices and attend, mostly for Xen developers. So if you are a Xen developer and you cannot attend the US event, feel free to contact us. We'll share some, pizzas and beers around the stream, watching the US events remotely. I will be myself and in San Jose presenting the state of XCPNG. If you want to read more about the program and so on, feel free to click on the link. We will also showcase that we are doing a huge part of the talks there, demonstrating that Vates is really committed within the Xen project, not just using it, but participating to it. I think we'll have like almost 20% of the talks. So it shows that we are really, really deep into making the future of the Xen project. Transitioning to something else, the French market is not, let's say, the most active one until recently, and now it's more and more active. As you may know, we are mostly in the US, but now the European market is growing pretty fast. And to support this momentum, we are working now with a value-added French distributor called New Vad. So it's great because it helps to, sell faster, as we have, a distributor animating the resellers and so on and so on. So that's also proof that we are, generating more interest than in the past, as we are not just selling directly, but also through multi-level partners and so on and so on. So by the way, if you want a partner, if you're interested, or a distributor, we have a webpage on our website in vates.tech. If you're a partner, you can, be part of the program. I will be happy. So you can just, apply for it, and we will answer you. We also added a new section in our website called vates.tech/VMware-alternative, where we built with the experience we had with our customers transitioning from VMware to Vates, all the differences, the similarities, how to do it, and so on. So we are, making that more and more available to assist you in that migration by just reading those feedbacks to assist you to understand how you could achieve it. So feel free to take a read there. I will be re-enrich this page with more and more feedback and more documentation. So if you are still hesitating, take a look. You will see it's doable and it's not rocket science. It's just, making a plan, but it works. Okay, so that's for the community and the intro. Let's switch to the first usual topic we are exploring when we do a monthly release, which is the backup. So on the backup side of things this month, it was mostly, let's say, quality of life improvements. So for example, when you have some S3 providers that are not really fast, when you list the backup, sometimes you had a timeout, especially with Backblaze, sadly. So we had to modify a bit the way it's done and increasing the timeout. So even if you use a provider that is not really fast to list files, now it should take some time, but at least it should work, right? We also fixed a previous issue called the backup sequences happening when you have a succession of backups in sequence. Sometimes an empty job could stop the entire sequence. So we fixed that, and we are making sure now the entire sequence will run even if there is some empty jobs. So it's pretty helpful to make sure you have all your jobs executed one after another. Okay, let's switch to the core UI. So as you know, core UI is the let's say, main framework we are using, the web framework we're using for both Lite and X06. So we improved some components this month, as usual. There is also something that was kind of irritating when you select a tab on an object, like on a VM, and you go back to another view, and then you go back to the object. Now you will finally land to the last tab you visited. It seems to be nothing, but believe me, that was kind of irritating, as I said. So now it's a lot easier. When you go back on the view, you will stay on the last tab you visited. So it's a big quality of life things. In the end, if it's a lot of small stuff, but if you add all of that, in the end, it makes browsing X06 and Lite a lot easier. Talking about X06, as a reminder, you could, access to the X06 by using /v6 in your URL of your XOA. We finally started to implement the new backup view. So it's an entirely new view built from scratch, displaying all the backup jobs. We'll have a side panel coming from next month, but the idea is to make it a lot easier and faster to, see the schedules and so on and having action on them. So it starts to be, right into X06, and our goal is, as a reminder, for December 25, having the V6 by default. And then if you want to access the old UI, clicking on a button like configure in X05 that you might have here. or using /v5. So it's becoming closer and closer to get a UI that is doing, let's say, 80% of what you need directly in v6, because it will be the default view. So for Exolite, we improve the capacity to easily translate something. So we have a link directly in the language page in your settings. So you can click there and improve the translations directly. So it's helpful. You don't have to know where to do it. It's directly put inside the documentation, inside the interface, sorry, of Xen Orchestra. So we have different links on how to contribute. By the way, a shout out to PBO, who is helping a lot this month with a lot of changes regarding translation, so we could have new languages. Regarding XOA, so we added two templates in the hub. So Debian 13, which was released like 2 weeks ago, something like that, and also an older version of Ubuntu, but still in LTS, that wasn't here. We had the 24, but not the 22. So we added the 22 version of Ubuntu in the hub. So now you can use the latest Debian or an older LTS of Ubuntu directly by clicking on install and create VM. That's why the hub is helpful for that, and it's configured with cloud in it, so there is no bundled password or users. I mean, it's Debian users, but for Debian. But when you create, you just pass the SSH key, and then you could create a VM in less than a minute. So it's really really handy. Let's move on to the REST API. So as you know, this REST API is really great, done from scratch, a lot better than the JSON RPC one. It's also auto-documented with Swagger. So we added more endpoints to it, get and get idea that are visible now directly within the Swagger documentation. We added the SMT thing to know if you have multi-threading enabled. It's hyper-threading for Intel. Anyway, more endpoints, more documentation, and if you want to learn more about Swagger, we have a link to a previous release which is displaying that. Also, the Swagger specification is available in JSON directly, so if you want to have auto-generated code or thing like this to manipulate, or let's say remote control your Xen Orchestra and your entire infrastructure, that's great to have this available in JSON, and it's also compliant with OpenAPI. Moving on to the DevOps tools, so we got a team that is started like 8 months ago, the DevOps tool team, and this month they released a new version of the Go SDK, which is the base of Pulumi and Terraform provider, and we added the support of dynamic memory for your VMs directly in the provider, so you could use those fields now to create VMs with dynamic memory or not. You could set the same amounts, but now you can do it. It wasn't there before, so it's been asked, so we just delivered. One of the big thing of this release is the huge improvement on our V2V tool, which is VMware to Vates tool. That could be named Broadcom to Vates, but still, anyway, it's a pretty exciting change because we decided to, instead of relying on the default API of VMware, we decided to use the VDK kind of framework, kind of. That's the component that is used by Veeam and other backup vendors to transfer fast all the disks from VMware. And when you use the default API, it's frankly not great. You had a lot of limitations and so on. So what it brings. So it brings two great things. Well, three. The first one is it's a lot easier to design a migration tool by using the VDK, because it does some stuff that it makes the code a lot easier to maintain. So that's great because we can continue to maybe make it more automated, add features and so on. And the code is not a spaghetti code like it was before because of the kind of weird native VMware API. The second one is the improved performance, meaning that migrating a VM before and now is a complete game changer. The performance difference is really huge. It could be from a few times faster to maybe 10, 20, maybe 30 times faster, even faster sometimes when you have a VM with a lot of anti-blocks. But still, it's really, really faster. So this means even transferring a big VM will take a lot less time than before. But I mean, that's cool. That's really cool. But that's not I would say, the main thing that is given by that. The main thing is the capability to have one migration for all VMFS versions, so all VMware versions. So what is one migration? So a quick recap is For example, if you want to migrate a pretty big VM from VMware to your stack, the problem is if you have to shut down the VM, migrate it, the migration time is a downtime for your users, but you want to reduce that downtime. So what we can do at Vates now with Xen Orchestra is snapshotting the VMware guest, VMware VM that is running. So it stays running, but you made the snapshot, and we export the snapshot while the VM is still running on VMware side. So this could take, I don't know, 2-3 hours, something like that, but the VM is still available. And then when the initial transfer on the snapshot is done, we shut down the VM on the VMware side, and then we only transfer the diff that has been written while we were exporting the snapshot. And that could be only like few minutes. And then you boot the VM on the XCPNG side. So all in all, this one migration means the interrupted time, or the time where the VM wasn't on for users, will be limited to a few minutes. So you just need to have some planning, but you could start to make the one migration on, during a day, and just make the diff during a weekend or an evening and so on. So that's a really, really powerful tool that works now with all VMFS versions. So that's really great. And to me, that's why now it's a very, very great tool to help you in the migration, being both fast, resilience, and also reducing the downtime a lot. So the blog post is giving all the details, just a graph showing the difference in migration time before and after. So you can see even just in raw speed, it's a lot better. But again, that's just part of it. The warm stuff is really, really the difference. So there's some stuff to install. We'll make sure that it's the easy as possible. We cannot bundle everything at once within XOA because the VDDK is coming from Broadcom, so we cannot redistribute the binary ourselves. But we are making sure the documentation is up to date, so it's easy as possible. And then we'll see if we could make even easier. But it's a one-time configuration for migrating your entire infrastructure, so it's really, really cool. We also fixed other issues with very large a number of disk per VM. Like if you have a VM with more than 10 disks, it fails sometimes. Now it works well. So all of that meaning that the pain to migrate out VMware is reduced by a lot. Let's switch to the documentation and guides. So we spent a lot of time in this August month to improve the documentation. We had some, bad HTML anchors that was kind of also, I would say, irritating, where you have to scroll down because the anchor didn't work. So it's fixed. So it's great news. Now we could, link specific sections as intended, and it's a lot better. We spend some time also to write or improve the documentation on how to make backup correctly, what issues you might have with very large drives, and so on and so on. So it's important to read. Feel free to take a look. We also explain in details how network bonding is working directly from the UX and UI of Xen Orchestra, and how does it work, and so on and so on. The load balancing documentation was also heavily improved because it was kind of old, and then we added many details. Remember, the load balancer is really great plugin. You should try it. And also some other plugins are now more documented, like the usage reports and so on and so on. So feel free to take a look. It's really great. Regarding the translations, we added 5 new language that were not added but updated. That's great, and we had a lot of let's say participation and contribution from everyone. So really, thank you everyone for your contribution on making the new interface of X6 and Lite translated in many languages. So that's really cool. And to finish with the Misc section, we improved also some features that were only compatible with one brand of servers. This time we added compatibility with most of the Dell servers. I say most because we cannot test all of them. But if you have a Dell machine and you are inside the host view, you will have a link toward the IPMI of the host, the power usage, if the PSUs are working, temperature, fan speed, and so on and so on. So, really handy. We might, get that for other brands one after another, because each brand got its own way to display the information. But still, now you have to with 2 Series I and Dell that are compatible with it. We are also improving automated tests with the Exo servers to have a faster, more efficient QA. We already had tests, but now with the let's say what's missing the REST API, we could move some test method in a very easy fashion, and to improve that to make it even easier to make our releases. And finally, in both XO5 and XO6, we added a direct link in toward the REST API doc. So because you had to know the link of the doc, the URL of the doc, which is inside your Xen Orchestra, but there's no way to guess it. So we've been asked multiple times and realized, well, why not having directly the link available from the menu of XO5 or directly in the user menu in XO6. So that's what we did, and it's small stuff, but I know more and more people are relying on the REST API, so having an access to the doc and knowing exactly which method to use is a lot better. So that's it for the overview. As you can see, it's a pretty big release, especially for the month of August, which is traditionally calm, let's say it like this in France. So we're really happy to announce all of that. And believe me, it's just the start. The end of the year is crazy. We have so many things to release, so many things to announce. So stay tuned. Thank you for listening or watching. I remember you can have this in podcasts and also on YouTube and Spotify and others. So thank you very much, and see you next month. Bye bye.